With this being the third huge star-studded comic book movie being released in just as many months, you'd think there'd be a feeling of overindulgence. I mean, I love comic book movies, but even with all the bad Rotten Tomatoes scores, I still had hope for this film. Well, I was at least partially right. While this film does have very few cool oh shit moments, a lot of the film does feel kinda slow, and it doesn't feel like the end of a new trilogy. And the ending really throws a lot of information at you at once. Now, it should go without saying, this is a huge spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the movie yet, a lot of this might not make sense. Or maybe you just want to be spoiled before you see the film. I don't care what you're into. Now, this video may seem a bit long, but like I said, this really throws a lot of info at you at once. So let's put a nice little bow in it. Now, I've already done a video on the Wolverine scenes, be sure to give that a check. So we'll continue after the Wolverine scene. After all of our heroes are reunited, we rejoin Apocalypse building a new pyramid to be the center of the universe in Cairo, Egypt. As our heroes suit up with a game plan for how to defeat these foes in Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen, Apocalypse crafts Magneto a brand new, more powerful helmet as he prepares his Four Horsemen for their offense. With Charles Xavier essentially there as their hostage, as Charles tells Apocalypse, "You expect me to just sit here and watch?" Apocalypse replies, "No, Charles, your role is the most important of all." Just like in the beginning of the film, we see an old, weathered shell of Apocalypse as he transfers his conscience into a mutant with the regeneration power. This is shown as Raven, disguised as Cyclops later in the film, tries to slit his throat with no luck. Anyway, the one power that Apocalypse has witnessed and now wants for himself is to enter and control people and mutants' minds without the use of Xavier's cerebro. This is why this ritual is attempted for the second time in this film. But Nightcrawler bamfs Charles out of there after maneuvering through the new pyramid. But in the process, Charles fights away Apocalypse from transferring his conscience into his body. This causes him to become the now famously bald Charles Xavier. Now the fight is taken outside as Apocalypse starts losing a few horsemen in Angel and Cyclops. And at this point, Charles' telepathy has been enhanced by Apocalypse, which is why he's able to now communicate with Magneto while he's in mid-Earth remodeling while he still has his helmet on, telling him there's still good in you. Before Xavier can fully make Magneto change sides, Apocalypse realizes we're still connected, he and Charles, and breaks the communication to Magneto. Quicksilver joins the fight in hilarious fashion, landing a few hits on our main antagonist, but then Apocalypse traps him and snaps his leg like a twig. Now here's kind of something funny, not funny. Quicksilver's gonna be fast no matter what, so even if he's walking around with crutches, or maybe even if he borrows Charles Xavier's wheelchair, he can still be pretty fast and get away with a lot of stuff, I'm just saying. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is when we get to see Mystique disguised as Cyclops, who fails to kill Apocalypse up close. So now in an attempt to find out where Charles ran off to, Apocalypse grabs Mystique by the throat and nearly chokes the life out of her. As she gasps for breath, Charles realizes he and Apocalypse's minds are still connected, via Apocalypse trying to enhance his abilities in the first place to deliver a message to the entire human race. We know Charles Xavier struggled with his powers in the beginning, and all throughout this new trilogy, where it almost seemed like torture to him. So he passes that feeling on to Apocalypse, saying, "You want to feel what I feel," as he touches his head, and Apocalypse seems overwhelmed by the rush of minds he can now hear. Now Charles and Apocalypse fight on the cerebral plane as Xavier starts losing the battle. In reality, Apocalypse finds Xavier's physical location, but now Magneto comes to the rescue, blocking Apocalypse with two metal I-beams spelling out X. And Xavier tells Jean Grey, who also comes to the rescue both in reality and in the cerebral plane, to unleash the full fury of your power. Which she does, which blasts off Apocalypse's armor. Now here's a bit of comic trivia if you didn't know. Apocalypse's armor was a suit of armor that was crafted by the Celestials. It was provided to those who served their cause of evolution. Once worn, they imparted great power on their users to the point their abilities reached god-like proportions. And if you're unclear on who the Celestials are, think of them as an all-powerful alien race that influenced many key events in human history. But back to the movie. Apocalypse's body now exposed due to his armor coming off. Magneto impales him, and Storm now betrays Apocalypse. Now he has nobody on his side, he's all alone. Cyclops attacks, and before Jean Grey unleashes her most damaging attack as Phoenix, Apocalypse's last words are, "All is revealed," as you can see the shape of a phoenix in the aftermath of Jean's attack. Now you can take Apocalypse's last words in a few different directions. He could be referring to all is revealed as the full extent of each X-Men's power has been revealed, as Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Magneto, and other X-Men essentially maxed out what they were capable of. It could also be referring to the Sentinels that maybe his defeat was part of their plan all along. Who knows? If you think you know, be sure to comment below. Now the battle's over, Charles and Maria McTaggart share a moment, and he gives her back all of her memories that were taken away from her in X-Men First Class. The location of the school, being Charles' caretaker when he was in the wheelchair, and any relationship that the two had was now rekindled. We go back to the Xavier house, and Jean and Magneto are using their powers to to help rebuild the school, and I'm sure it'll end up just being blown up again, but you know, whatever. At the school, Quicksilver says that he will not tell Magneto that he is his son, so I'm sure this is going to continue to be a running joke throughout the next series of X-Men films. And we get to see from the comics the Danger Room, which is not as bad as it sounds. So Mystique gives her pre-game speech to all the recruits with enhanced powers, and the Danger Room opens up. It's a training simulator so they can really sharpen up their skills. They all get sick new duds as they train against the first generation sentient bots that were in X-Men Days of Future Past. And the film closes with the X-Men door closing on the now bald Charles Xavier. So the next film to be released is Wolverine 3, which is supposed to come out March 3rd, 2017, so less than a year from now, and then Deadpool 2 with Cable sometime between June and October of 2017. I can't wait for those films. Be sure to leave a comment below, guys, if you found this helpful. If there's anything that I didn't answer for you, be sure to comment that below as well. And feel free to mention anything that I missed, or what was your favorite scene in X-Men Apocalypse if you've seen it yet. And be sure to subscribe below because I'll be doing some cool giveaways for the next couple of movies. I'll be doing one for the Suicide Squad as I have a Harley Quinn Goodnight bat I'll be doing a giveaway for. And as always, this is Five Fingers with the Finger Bang Show. I'm out.
That man has no regard for lawn maintenance.